Welcome back, everybody. My name is Peter Nelson. I'm here to guide you in everything you need to know about gemstones and jewelry. Now today we're going to be talking about this pendant. A little bit about the chain, because some of my regular viewers have been asking me about it. Now I got a comment, which I was very delighted to see, thank you very much. But in that comment it says that it's an exceptional piece of jade. Now, if you've been watching this channel for any period of time, you should know not to identify based on video or pictures. Now that's not too much of a rebuke, it's more of a reminder. But I thought I would make a video to tell you more about this pendant, why I made it, what are its characteristics, and what is this stone? So first off, let's start off and announce the elephant in the room. This is not jade. This is actually chrysoprase. Now chrysoprase is a cryptocrystalline variety of quartz. So it does have some characteristics that are similar to jade, but it's chemically very different from jade. Structurally, it's similar. Chemically, very different. So it is still a tough stone and it can look very, very similar. If you put a piece of Guatemalan jade right next to it, you could be forgiven for believing it was the same thing. But it doesn't have the same characteristics. Now this particular piece, thank you for noticing it, is a higher translucency piece of chrysoprase. A lot of it is more like this. It's quite milky and it tends to be, well, it looks like plastic. And I hate it. You can like whatever you want, but I've seen too much of it and I got bored a long time ago. So when I find stones that have high translucency, I start drooling and I have a hard time not buying them. Because they are quite a bit rarer. It's hard to find that quality of chrysoprase or any kind of chalcedony, which is the same thing, just different color. Now, jadeite does have very similar qualities, but it's in a whole different family of minerals, the pyroxene group. So whether it's jadeite, omphacite, or cosmochlore, all of those can intergrow. Quartz just tends to be quartz. There might be other trace elements that color it, which is why this is green and not just translucent. But anyway, I had this larger piece of chrysoprase and I decided I was going to make a pendant out of it. And because I'm absolutely stark raving mad, I was thinking about Chinese furniture. And I like things that hang. And so I was inspired by some of those jade carvings that they make with interlocking rings. And so this piece, it went through several iterations, but it ended up having this sort of balustrade that goes across the top and suspending chains that connect to another balustrade. So it's like a floating castle. Now the bezel's attached to a back plate, and that's based off of the old Chinese shelf. Sometimes they go around doorways, and what I love about them is that the terraces are uneven. So if you have something like teapots, which I like to collect, each one kind of has its own little nook. So there's a sense of specialness in each part of the shelf. It's not just linear, box. Hello IKEA, it's IKEA. And because I like movement, we've got movement not just on the piece of chrysoprase, but also at the bottom, you may notice that there's a small orb. And that is a Tahitian pearl. A pearl, you say? Yes, a pearl. I really like Tahitian pearls because there's a unique set of colors that you don't find in any of the other types of pearls. Now, they don't all come from Tahiti, but they tend to come from different Pacific locales. Back in the day when the Japanese were first cultivating pearls and figuring out how to cultivate different species of pearls, because yes, it changes depending on species, they had figured out Akoya and then they started moving down into the South Seas. So South Sea pearls, which is a term now used for Australian pearls, and Tahitian pearls were at one point the same term, at least for the Japanese. Now we've since subdivided them. But Tahitian pearls and the mollusk that produces those pearls is very genetically similar to ones that you find in Fiji. And so you can have similar colors, but they tend to be a bit different over in Fiji and other Pacific Island areas. That's where that mollusk particularly thrives. But still a lot of work. So I love Tahitian pearls, and so I decided to put one off the bottom of this pendant. You may have seen another pendant that I frequently wear that has corundum and spinel, and that also has a Tahitian pearl off the bottom, and it moves. Because who wants things that are static? Life is all about movement. Now, one thing I also need to point out is that this is silver. And while when you wear silver frequently, like these rings on my hand, they stay bright because your sweat effectively pickles them. Now, any nooks and crannies will tend to take on a patina, that darkness that comes basically from the air. Unfortunately, our atmosphere is not exactly the cleanest, and so it affects these metals, at least the ones that are capable of reacting. Not platinum, but silver will. And even though sterling silver is 925, so that's 92.5% silver, and then the remaining percentage tends to be copper, but it may also have other trace elements, and I think that's what happened with this chain. Now this chain, if you saw that video over on my jewelry focus channel, Note and Compass, you'll know that there was a point where this looked just as bright as mithril. But because of the combination of this particular alloy, which I need to get it analyzed and find out what is it that caused it to go black. Because I even had to repair the chain, the clasp on the back, and in doing that soldering operation, of course, it goes into the pickle again, and it comes out white. But over time, I'm noticing that it's going dark, 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 and back to black. Peace be upon Amy Winehouse. Now, I think that's an interesting design feature, so I would actually like to find out what the alloy is. Is it something I can recreate, or is it just one of the mysteries of Thailand? Sometimes you get alloys that turn black, because it can't just be that the pollution is bad here, because other pieces of jewelry, where I bought silver from a different location, are not oxidizing in the same way. Inquiring minds want to know. But that brings me to another point. If you do actually like black metal, and you're going for that look, what are our options? Do we just have to patina everything? And the answer is no. One of the platinum group metals, rhodium, which is oftentimes used on silver or white gold to keep it bright white, also has a different variant that comes out black or gray. A couple different varieties. And in fact, one of my clients selected a nice purple garnet, and for reasons that are personal to them, they wanted this ring to be black. We cast a silver ring, set the stone, so I engraved it first, and then sent it off to get black rhodium plated. So this has the watchmaker scroll gradually rising up from the bottom. I also bright cut stars, and each of the cheeks has a similar motif. Star and bead set the purple garnet into the ring, keeping it nice and safe and protected, and now they have that deep color contrasting with the purple. What a unique piece! So there you go, my chrysoprase pendant with Tahitian pearl, as well as an option to keep your jewelry looking as dark as your gothic little soul, if you have one. And I think variety really is the spice of life. So if you're interested in hearing more of these stories, especially about pieces that are coming out, that haven't come out yet, then head over to gemshepherd.com, where you can get on the Gem Shepherd Circle, our mailing list. That's where the stories come out first, and they get the first opportunity to buy one-of-a-kind pieces. So if that interests you, head over to gemshepherd.com. Otherwise, hit like, hit subscribe, tell all of your friends about me. Until next time, bye-bye.